series. This will be part 2 of My Hero Academia Vigilantes, where we'll be going over volumes 4 through 6. So, without further ado, let's get started. So this is the cover, and this is the back side. So, and then I did the pink bookmarks like I always do. So for the first bookmark, we have this one. So in this page, Soga is looking for Queen Bee, which makes me curious of why he really cares, because this was her back when I guess she wasn't evil. So it just makes me curious as to why he's doing such a thing. And then if we flip to the next bookmark that I have, we see Knuckle Duster go to a hospital, and we find out that he's married and his wife is hospitalized with some kind of problem. Doesn't really ever tell us, I don't think. At least not how far I gotten. So, and then the next one, we have this one, where very, very creepy scene where it shows us that Queen Bee killed her parents, and she just has their deceased body in her house, and it doesn't affect her at all. Just very, very creepy and unsettling scene to see. All right, the next bookmark. So basically, after his change, he has like Japanese delinquent cheers and stuff like that, and he's actually pretty popular. So which means that the detective's little sister is actually a pretty good advertiser and stuff like that. She's pretty good at her job, which I thought was funny and good for him, because I do like him as a character. I just hope he doesn't turn evil. Well, he's kind of evil, I guess. He's a philanderer, but he's a pretty fun character. A few pages back, we have the two leaders of the idol groups just met, and they immediately have crushes on each other, which I think is hilarious that it's like that. Basically, like getting romantic comedy style, which is pretty hilarious. All right, then next we have this one, where it's this dude talking like again, and then freaking MC is so oblivious to things that he just mentioned and stuff, and just freaking MC, dude. He's been turning kind of stupid lately, but he's a strong hero, which I like. All right, then next we have a few more pages. We have the rough design for the twin characters. Pretty cool. And then a few more pages. We actually have Midnight and Present Mike from the main series of My Hero showing up, and they're talking about how in Naruto, where they're at, Midnight and Present Mike are essentially just guests / heroes on standby, and that Endeavor, Ingenium, and All Might are all from Naruto neighborhood. So where the main Vigilante series takes place is where all those heroes essentially live. So I think that's really cool and a cool connection. But it makes me wonder why the main heroes never ever mention Vigilantes if it takes place like 4 years before this series. But whatever. Still a cool scene. Alright, then next we have some power-ups. So I thought this was really cool because not even Eraserhead could take him down. This electric eel dude, with his quirk and everything, not even Eraserhead could take him down, which I thought was very, very interesting, that she's so powerful that she can make something like that happen. All right, then next, go a little bit more. And we have this. We have the massive reveal that Queen Bee is actually Knuckle Duster's daughter, which I thought was expected, I guess you could say, after they heavily mention his daughter to the wife and everything like that. But it was still a very, very cool scene and very much of a surprise to me, which I really, really like, that it's more darker and surprising, like with her dead parents and stuff like that, which are obviously fake. So who knows where she freaking killed that family, which makes me very, very worried. All right, then we go a few more. And we have a few more pages, and we have the notice that the wife probably went into critical condition, and so Knuckle Duster's like, okay, fine, the family will be right over, and he jumps into action. So he's gonna freaking fight his daughter to save her, which I think is really interesting. All right, and then next we have this one, like 10 more pages. Knuckle Duster gets taken out by her, and he's just so proud of her for something like that, which I think is hilarious, and just shows how much of a boss he is. That he just, in that kind of thing, he can smile like after being taken out. And like 10 pages later, we see that Knuckle Duster is doing everything he can and being a boss as well. He bought everything he could from one of the bad guys from the main series, who shows up a few times. He's basically like the drug dealer for the League of Villains, I guess you could say. And he bought a bunch of stuff to basically restart her heart and So he was planning to tase Queen Bee and then restart her heart so he can get his daughter back. So this is what he tried to do. So all this freaking crap just to get his daughter. So he's amazing, dude. I love him. All right, then go a few more, and this is when he restarts her heart. So after the Queen Bee quirk leaves, he has to make sure the body's completely dead before he can restart. And he's so intense about it, and he really wants to revive her, which I really like. That he, even though he's kind of a mean dude, I guess you could say, with like his vigilante alter ego and stuff like that, he still wants to do what's right for his family. All right, and then next we have the detective dude immediately sees a bee, and then it's like, it's not freaking over, because a few pages later we see this freaking dude. You can see that eye and that music note. You know what shit's about to go down. So boom, Queen Bee's back and just infected some other dude, which is very, very unfortunate because it's not over yet, and I don't think it'll ever be over. All right, and then, so that's the end of the volume. There was something else that I wanted to mention very quickly. I'm just devastated that Queen Bee immediately transferred to a new host. There was like no gap or anything like that. It's just kind of annoying. All right, and then for this episode, this whole chapter at the end is essentially a trailer for My Hero Vigilantes that aired in Jump Giga 2016 Volume 2. So based on what this says, this essentially establishes the timeline that, if you read right here, however, in the actual continuity, Mount Lady and Kamui Woods hadn't made their debuts yet, and Deku and friends would have still been in elementary school. So just think of this as a non-canon feature. So this is All Might as a teacher explaining vigilantes to them in the current setting. So basically this establishes that if it was an elementary school, and at the current timeline of My Hero, at least when these books came out, they were in their first year of freshman year of high school, basically. So this essentially establishes that it was about 3 or 4 years ago. So I thought that was something I needed to mention. So I thought this part was hilarious because even though the MC does a lot of good and really helps people out, he's still considered a villain based off what vigilante means to people. So I think it's hilarious that, and kind of messed up that even the most good guys can still be considered villains. So that's it for Volume 4. So overall, pretty good volume. I really like the family stuff, and I really like the hero. Like the MC didn't really have very much. He got dumber, and he didn't have very much like power moments, but it was still a very good volume overall. I think I'll give it like a 8.5 out of 10, just because I like the family stuff. I really don't like that they're retroactively making the MC just completely oblivious. All right, so that was Volume 4, and now we have Volume 5. So there's the cover, and as you can see, 2 fan favorite characters are in this book, Eraserhead and Fat Gum. If they're on the cover, that means that they're a prominent character in this feature, which I really, really like. And then here's the back side. All right, so if we go, as soon as we start off, you can see that Hopstep keeps her identity secret from everybody, even from her family and friends, which I thought was rather surprising because I didn't expect that. But I guess it makes sense though with how she dresses and stuff like that. But I just thought it was interesting, something to mention. All right, then next we have this one, a quirk that I've never even seen before. It's basically a quirk where there's essentially no way to live in any kind of world with this kind of quirk. It just fits people with crazy fetishes, but you can't really do anything about it because that's just the quirk you're born with. So it's kind of messed up. Unless you embrace yourself, then you're in for a rough your life because you're essentially quirkless if you wanted to do anything else, which is very, very messed up. And in this next one, we have there's a lot of villains running around in their neighborhood. And we see that Knuckle Duster suddenly shows up, and he's still looking for drug users to making sure that Queen Bee is out for good, which I really, really like, that he still is on his mission. And then as we go, like 10 or so pages, we see that unfortunately it looks like that the mom died. Based on the context, I mean, because just the way he reacts of him holding her hand and then saying that you can't see her now. But he saved his daughter, which I really, really like. But I don't think he could spend the last moments with his wife because he kept trying to save his daughter. So that's unfortunate. I hope it doesn't eat at him and basically make him retire. But very, very good character development from him based off where he started in the story, which I really like. And then as we go another 10 or so pages, we see that the MC constantly constantly gets into fights with villains, and then he's not strong enough to win, so he immediately calls in Captain Celebrity to fight his battles for him, which I think is hilarious. But it really annoys Captain Celebrity, and he just immediately gets overwhelmed. And then that's brought up that. Then next we have a giant poster board where MC says that Knuckles been gone for a while, and which means he's probably taking care of his daughter as she recovers. But it's just surprising that he just. But I guess it works out because he wants to take care of his family. But I don't know why he didn't tell MC and Pops that. It just doesn't make sense to me, but you gotta do what you can for family. All right, and as we go, we actually see Midnight in her regular clothes, which I don't think I've ever seen before. I thought it was very surprising. She actually looks cuter in this form than in her hero form, as I guess you could say. And then as we go a little bit more, you see this. Based on the context right here, we can see that they've been slowly ingesting Trigger and blood and stuff like that into a bunch of different people, which I think is the first stages of Nomu. So I think Vigilantes will start to cover Nomu as time goes on, which I'm pretty excited about because that'll connect it even more further with the main story. So they're just slowly enhancing and quirk people and just transforming them all the way, like the eel dude. He's no longer a human, he's just an eel now, which I think is very, very interesting. Right, then we go a little bit more, we can see that Teru, basically the eel man, he was transformed, and the other next level villains went missing, and they were all transformed into what I believe, like what I said earlier, as like Alpha Test Nomu. So I think that these guys will slowly become the Nomu that we see in the main series. But this is just like the Alpha Test because they can still think like humans. Like he's blushing and he loves pop step and stuff like that. So very interesting. And I'm excited to see where it goes. All right, then next we see that the MC is actually his quirk is evolving even more, which I'm very, very excited about. So I love watching him get stronger. And his powers now heavily remind me of Spider-Man with the way he like can jump onto walls and just crawl around and stuff like that, which I think is very, very cool. And I'm excited to see him evolve some more. All right, and then next we have the reveal of Fat Gum in the spin-off, which I really, really like, because he's a fan favorite character and definitely a character I really like. As soon as he shows up, he immediately interacts with the MC, which I really like because it just their dynamic is really fun and it's just really interesting to see them. All right, and then next, we have Fat Gum's character sheet, as you can see right here. So real name Taishiro Toyomitsu, birthday 8/8, weight 250 centimeters, question mark, favorite thing takoyaki, quirk fat absorption, and then the behind the scenes and stuff, then his character design. So I just really love that they put this character inside the main series. I mean, inside the spin-off because he was in the main series. I just love it. And then we go a lot more, and we see two of my favorite characters, the Delinquent brothers that are basically friends with Eraserhead. I really like their dynamic. It's so awesome. But the Hada brothers are funny dudes, man. All right, and then one of their friends turned into like a giant grasshopper thing. And then we go a little bit more, and we can see that the crab idol chick that they introduced a few chapters ago, she's actually an undercover cop, which I was pleasantly surprised about, that they do that kind of stuff. I thought she was a villain at first based off her character design and stuff like that. I thought and then also because they showed her so much. So that was my bad though. She's actually pretty cool now. I just hope she does decent work. And then a little bit more, we have Kaneko and Crab Mech character sheet. So Monica Kaneyashiki, 6/22 is her birthday. Height is 160 centimeters. Favorite thing is Kani Miso, and then quirk scissors. So that's her. So she's perfect for being a crab lady. A little bit behind the scenes. And then we go a little bit more, and we can see the dude that I think was Queen Bee originally. So based on what I can tell from this thing, it looks like Queen Bee wants to be the only drug distributor because the crab dudes are also distribute drugs. So it looks like Queen Bee wants to take out the competition. So they're like hacking mechs and just doing bad things just to make sure that nothing that kind of happens. All right, and then this is something that I thought was really funny is the Hoda brothers character sheet. So there's them two, and the same design hero costume for both of them. And that's their behind the scenes, and they're just really funny to me. And some of my favorite characters of all time. I really, really like them actually. They're hilarious. And then as we go, we see the first reveal of her quirk. And it really, really reminds me of MV-chan from One Piece. Basically, Emperor Invoko's right hand person from the Impel Down arc. If you look her up, you'll know what she looks like. But just reminds me a lot of her quirk is her power from that series. So just interesting and just something to talk about, I guess. All right, and then as we go a little bit more, we see Fat Gum and the MC immediately burst into action. And there's the MC. Fat Gum immediately saying that we need somebody that's super fast. And then just we need more speed. And then just you hear boom, zoom, and then MC just rushing the battle. He's just such a good hero, man. I really hope he becomes a hero eventually. That'd be so cool. And then just the MC, he evolves like he always does. As soon as he needs to, with sheer willpower, he'll evolve, and he does the classic line, which I think is awesome, and I love it a lot. I really like the MC of this series, and he's not a crybaby like Midoriya is, which I really like as well. He just immediately a vigilante, and immediately with hero abilities, and he just slowly evolves. If anything, he's kind of dumb, but he's a fun dumb, even though it's kind of annoying at times. But he's just a really good character overall. And then we go a bunch more. And we see that the MC saves Pop Step, and they're like, it's gonna blow. But Fat Gum springs in the action because he's a great hero, and he just immediately climbs on it. And it gives you what his quirk is again, and and then because it blows up, he has to use all of his fat and freaking his muscly weird form, his low fat form, which is super muscular, which I think is hilarious. And it's just very, very good character development for both of them. It shows Fat Gum beforehand, and he was always a really good hero, and I just really like it a lot. It was a very exciting chapter for both of them. It was just a really fun read. And then Fat Gum is definitely the best in both of the series. He's just so awesome, man. All right, and then a few pages later, the detective finally realizes that his sister is involved with Pop Step and the MC, but they still did a really great job. They still did a really great job, even though he's super worried. So I'm scared about what the detective will do. I hope he doesn't arrest the MC and Pop Step, because they do really good work actually. So that's the end of the volume. Very, very good overall volume and very cool moments. I think it's definitely a 10 out of 10 volume because it has very good character development, new characters added, super powered moments. It was just very, very awesome to read. So this is definitely a 10 out of 10. All right, so volume 6. This is the cover. And what's something that I really thought was awesome is that the Holt brothers are actually on the cover of volume 6. I'm so freaking happy. They are such awesome characters. I love them a lot. They're so funny, and their dynamic with Eraserhead is hilarious as well. And here's the back side. All right, and then as soon as we start off, page. So I wanted to mention that they actually put the definition for team up in here. That makes me think that a bunch of our favorite characters are going to team up and work together. So I'm very, very excited for that and their dynamics. And then we go a little bit more, and we see the freaking idol group characters are still here, and they're still awesome. They're the best couple around. And we go a little bit more, and we see that All Might is back, and he's still awesome, which I'm very, very happy with, and that he loves All Might so much. And the little girl kindergartners are hilarious as well. I love it. It's just a lot of great funny moments with also some very intense moments, you could say. And I don't think they ever figured out who the dead people were with Queen Bee, which is very worrying to me. Then we go a little bit more, and All Might talking with the detective, we realize how freaking stubborn and awesome the detective is with what he says and his wording and stuff like that, which I think is funny of how he interacts with All Might and stuff like that. All right, then as we go a little bit more, I thought this part was hilarious. The interactions based on freaking Kamiyan. He's hilarious and awesome because he's just basically a grasshopper man now. Just his interactions, so like with the Hoda brothers, and then basically of how serious he is and how he wants to do good for society and stuff like that, even though he looks very scary. I just think it's awesome. And this is also another funny moment between the dynamic of the detective and the Hoda brothers, where he accidentally got some perfume on him. And it's like, what's that nice feeling? Or, oh, it smells like roses. Did you put something good for us, detective? And it's like, oh my God, it's just awesome. I love it. And then All Might, same thing. All right, and then this character that's on the back of the book and right here reminds me a lot of Sonic from One Punch Man. So I had to bring it up because if he has speed powers, I'm gonna freak out. But I think it's interesting to mention because he's probably gonna be the main bad guy of this volume, or arc at least. All right, then this one is interesting because it mentions a new pro hero that we've never even heard of before. So based on what the detective's saying, either Oak Clock's quirk got stolen and we don't know. I think that's something that could happen. I'm not sure though, because I don't know if All For One is in this series. So I have no idea if quirks can be stolen, but I don't think he turned evil. He might have just, like what I said, he might have just gotten destroyed or something like that. So we'll see where this goes, but it just mentions a new pro hero that we've never even seen before, which I think is very interesting, which means something definitely happened. Right, and as we go further, we see that this dude, he has the same kind of similar powers and fighting style as O'Clock because O'Clock's his master. And based on what I could see right here, he's obviously watching a TV, so probably like news reports and stuff like that of O'Clock fighting, which he basically copied and he's been using as training. So I think that's pretty cool that he has that kind of memory where he could just watch videos and then get stronger from that, which I think is cool. And then we have a cool moment because his quirk is evolving even more where he can just use it with one hand on the Poppy one. So I really like that he's getting powered up as the story goes. I think it's really awesome in that things are definitely changing and happening with him. I just hope he really becomes a really good hero. And then we go a lot more and we see Eraserhead and the Hoda brothers again, which is the best dynamic for me. I love them a lot. They're basically the reactions to him and how they talk to him and stuff like that. I just think it's really funny and a very good part of the series. See even more Kamiyan being awesome with the MC getting powered up and fighting the villain. Just in the background we have Kamiyan just drinking tea and listening to music, just having fun, having a good old time. I just think it's awesome. It's like, and then the MC shows up and then they have a really cool interaction, which I really, really like. I just love Kamiyan and the Hoda brothers. They're so funny and they're the best part of the series. Let me go a little bit more. We see Eraserhead coming to the fray. And Eraserhead actually teams up with the Crawler, which I really like because they have a very good, they fight really well together, which is really awesome. So it just charges complete point blank range, and then Eraserhead knows exactly when Crawler should fire and stuff like that, and just very cool dynamic, and I just really hope they work a lot more together. Then we go a lot more, and we see that the dude that looks like Sonic, I don't think they ever mentioned his name. Based on what this is, we know that this dude is the villain of this arc because Queen Bee is nowhere to be seen, and I don't think this dude is Queen Bee. At least I don't think so, but it could be. But I know that this dude's definitely the villain of this one, and MC's just trying to be a good guy and saying that there's a hero coming. But but I just think it's funny that stuff like that is being mentioned and that he's just Sonic dude is pretty strong. And then next we have the Scarred Man, his character sheet. So his behind the scenes and stuff like that. That's his character side. This whole part is really funny because basically the MC being an awesome playboy, where just being a really nice guy, even though people think he's just dumb. Which is like, I'm a pro at that kind of thing. He's just really funny and really, really endearing, which I really like. But she gets kind of serious, and then this is a very, very, very disgusting part that they put in, which I think is really, really gross. Borderline unnecessary for the story. All right, and then we'll keep going. And then we have the Kaori and Kazuha character design, which I actually think is better than their original characters design, because they look a lot cuter and a lot more natural in these ones, which I really like. But I feel like that I would love them a lot more if they were these character designs originally. So there's the behind the scenes, and down there, very, very cool. I like them a lot. All right, then we keep going. And this whole chapter is labeled Casanova, just MC being a good, awesome dude. And an interesting point that he says that he's underage, but in his little penthouse thing, Knuckle Duster always drank beer at his house. So either Knuckle Duster bought the beer or Kochi actually had it all this time, which I think is very surprising. And they never explain it. So either he's underage or he's drinking alcohol at his house. All right, and this is the Rin and Hina character sheet right here. So these two, and some behind the scenes. And then I think it's funny because they mentioned about the scene where Hina sucking the Bartol got a huge reaction from people, which is just, that's so disgusting, but it's definitely true. It definitely gets a huge reaction. In the grand scheme, it's hilarious that they even put it in, because I don't think there's anything that disgusting in the main series. All right, then as we go, we see some freaking weird Thomas the Choo Choo Train type dude quirk thing, which I think is hilarious. And then for this character sheet, adding on to it, for these pages, adding on to it, freaking Eraserhead, MC, and the Hoda brothers are my favorite foursome. They just need Kamiyan to make the magnificent group of people that are my favorite characters of this whole series. Maybe Fat Gum is like a Phantom 6 member, but their freaking reactions, and then Eraserhead and Crawler just on best buds, just keeping secrets from the detective and people. I just think it's hilarious. All right, and then two more. So for this one, I thought it was interesting. So this one, it mentions that there's new bad guys and new trigger drugs being manufactured, and it just seems pretty important, and just things like that. So I thought it was very interesting to be, because things are definitely getting more evil with this new bad guy. So very, very interesting. All right, then next we have some phantom dude fighting somebody. And just based on what we could see, Scipion Sekyu Hyper Quad Fist, which is this dude. They think he's dead and got his quirk and he got his face split and quirk stolen. And then he died a long, long time ago. And based on what it reminds me, I think it looks exactly like Knuckle Duster, but with like a beard and more hair. And from what I could tell, is that really overclock and they aren't? Or is that really overclock and they aren't connected? Because based off the shadow of this, it looks like that's supposed to be overclock. So either it's just Knuckle Duster or Knuckle Duster is overclock, or they're two super characters. I have no idea, but just definitely interesting, because that looks like Knuckle Duster. I'm not positive, I guess you could say. I just don't wanna. So, and then I guess if I could make a decision, I guess Knuckle Duster really is overclock. Just lost his quirk somehow. Which I assume the only people that can do quirks is the bad guys from My Hero. I won't spoil it, but they can erase quirks, and All For One. Those are pretty much the only guys that can do it. So he had to fight one of those dudes, but those guys don't show up until the main series. So it had to be All For One somehow, which I would be interested in see that fight and how they came together, because all the other pro heroes have never fought All For One except All Might, pretty much. And all the other pro heroes had no idea about All For One's existence. So it'd be very interesting to see how that plays out. So this definitely excites me for the other volumes, seeing those fights, and then what will happen later on with his character development and MC, how his quirk evolves, and then how pretty much everybody evolves. And I really hope, as this series gets more popular, I hope it gets an anime, and I hope the spin-off characters slowly go into the main series. I think that'd be amazing and a really, really awesome thing to read. So that was volume 6. Very, very good. Probably 9 out of 10. No, 10 out of 10, because Hoda Brothers, Kamiyan, Racerhead, MC, all interacting and all getting super powered, except the puke thing was disgusting. So 9.9 out of 10. But very, very good manga overall. And so this was volumes 4 to 6 of My Hero Academia Vigilantes. I'll do 7 through 9 when they're released in English form. So based on what I read, volume 9 will be released around March 2021. So I'll do 7 to 9 around then, I suppose. So very, very good series. I really like it. I'll definitely keep going with it, because everything has been about an 8 or 9 out of 10. So I'm very excited, and I definitely want to see an anime of this series because I think it would do really well. And it's in the My Hero universe, and it's definitely a little bit darker, which I think people will like. Anime that I'll start doing is the Inuyasha manga because I have a lot of volumes of that, and I actually have the anime manga for that series. So I'll definitely do that. And the anime manga seems interesting, where each volume is about 3 episodes. So I think that it's basically like an anime review, which I think is really cool because I've always wanted to do those, but the editing and just blurring the video and stuff like that would be a pain. So that's what I decided on. So I will be doing, so like this series, I'll be doing every 3 volumes of the anime manga for Inuyasha. I'll be reviewing. Then I'll go on to another series after that. So after Inuyasha, please recommend me another manga series to review, and I will do it. So thank you everyone for watching this manga review, and have a good day.